Let's begin in a time of great uncertainty, a period when mighty empires were falling and new powers were beginning to rise from the ashes. Our story unfolds in a small town called Sagat in Anatolia, around the year 1258. A child named Osman is born into a world teetering on the edge of chaos. The once great Byzantine Empire is growing weaker by the day, and the Mongols have recently stormed into Baghdad, leaving destruction in their wake. Yet, amidst all this upheaval, new opportunities begin to appear, and Osman's tribe is one of the many small groups looking to seize them. Osman became the Bey chief of his tribe in 1280, after his father Ertugrul's death. His rise to leadership wasn't smooth. He had to defeat his uncle Dundar Bey, who opposed his ambition. This struggle was a turning point, showing Osman's determination and military prowess.
One fascinating aspect of Osman's life was his close relationship with Sheikh Idabali, a respected Sufi scholar. It's said that Osman had a profound dream while staying at Idabali's home. In the dream, a moon emerged from the Sheikh's chest and entered Osman's chest. A massive tree then grew from Osman's chest, covering the world, with its branches symbolizing future Ottoman expansion. Although the historical accuracy of this dream is debated, it became a symbolic legend that inspired his followers. Osman's marriage to Sheikh Idabali's daughter, Rabia Bala Hatun, further cemented his leadership role. It also gave him spiritual legitimacy, as he became associated with Islamic scholars and warriors who were crucial in shaping the Ottoman state.
One lesser-known fact is that Osman never actually held the title of Sultan during his lifetime. Instead, he was known as Bey or Emir. His son Orhan was the first to use the Sultan title after Osman's death. Despite this, Osman is considered the founder of one of the greatest empires in world history, which lasted over 600 years. The empire's name itself, Ottoman, is derived from the anglicized version of Osman's name, a legacy that would extend far beyond his lifetime. His leadership combined a blend of Islamic principles and nomadic warrior culture, which set the foundation for a powerful dynasty. The Early Empire, the rise of Osman and Orhan. The early period of the Ottoman Empire saw the transformation of a small semi-nomadic tribe into a structured political and military force. This change was led by Osman I, the founder, and his son Orhan, who carried forward his father's ambitions, solidifying Ottoman control in Anatolia and setting the stage for further expansion into Europe. Osman I's early conquests and legacy. Born around 1258, Osman I led his tribe during a time when the Byzantine Empire was weakening, and the Mongol invasions had destabilized much of the region. He built the foundation of the Ottoman state by uniting several smaller Turkish tribes and defeating local Byzantine garrisons. His first notable victory was at the Battle of Beyfus in 1302, where his forces decisively defeated a Byzantine army, a significant win that demonstrated the emerging power of the Ottomans. One of Osman's greatest strengths was his ability to attract a diverse group of followers. He didn't just lead warriors, he welcomed scholars, Sufis, and merchants into his domain. This inclusivity helped strengthen the new Ottoman state. His close relationship with Sheikh Idabali, a Sufi mystic, gave him spiritual legitimacy and earned him the support of religious groups, which was crucial for the growing state. The dream Osman reportedly had, where a tree grew from his chest and covered the world, is symbolic of his vision for a great empire, inspiring his people to believe in their destiny of expansion. Despite these successes, Osman did not live to see the full extent of his ambitions realized. He died in either 1324 or 1326, shortly before or after the siege of Bursa, a city that would become vital to the future of the Ottoman Empire. Orhan and the capture of Bursa. The reign of Orhan, 1326 to 1362, is marked by a crucial event that propelled the Ottoman Empire forward, the capture of Bursa in 1326. Bursa's location made it a strategic target, as it was a key Byzantine city situated in the northwestern Anatolian region. The siege, which began in the early 1320s, culminated in victory under Orhan's leadership, marking the first major Ottoman conquest of a Byzantine stronghold. The significance of Bursa cannot be overstated. It became the first capital of the Ottoman Empire and served as both an administrative and cultural center. The Ottomans transitioned from a mobile nomadic lifestyle to a more settled and organized state. Bursa's fertile lands and position on trade routes allowed it to thrive economically, becoming a hub for commerce and craftsmanship. With the establishment of madrasas, Islamic schools, and mosques, the city also became a center for Islamic learning and spirituality, further cementing Ottoman authority. Beyond the immediate benefits, Bursa symbolized a turning point in Ottoman strategy. Instead of relying on short-term raids and nomadic practices, Orhan's rule focused on building permanent institutions. He introduced coinage, creating the first Ottoman currency, which strengthened the economy and made trade easier within the empire. Orhan also organized a standing army, including the Janissaries, an elite military corps initially made up of non-Muslim captives who were converted to Islam and trained as soldiers. Early territorial expansion and diplomacy. Orhan's success did not stop at the capture of Bursa. His leadership saw the early expansion of the Ottoman Empire into Byzantine-controlled territories. He continued his father's legacy by taking control of Nicaea, modern Iznik, in 1331 and Nicomedia, modern Izmit, in 1337. These victories allowed the Ottomans to control key territories in northwestern Anatolia, positioning themselves as a serious power in the region. Unlike many of his contemporaries, Orhan did not rely solely on military conquest to expand his influence. He married Theodora, the daughter of Byzantine Emperor John VI Kantakouzenos, in 1346, which provided the Ottomans with a valuable diplomatic connection to the Byzantine court. This marriage demonstrates Orhan's diplomatic skill, allowing the empire to gain influence through both war and alliances. His expansionist policies laid the groundwork for future Ottoman conquests in Europe, particularly the Balkans, which would soon become a significant focus of the empire. What if the Ottomans failed to capture Bursa? If the Ottomans had failed to secure Bursa, the trajectory of their empire might have looked entirely different. Bursa's wealth and strategic position were essential to the Ottoman state's early consolidation of power. Without it, the Ottomans might have remained a regional power rather than growing into a global empire. A failure at Bursa could have emboldened the Byzantines or other Turkish rivals, delaying Ottoman expansion or even leading to the empire's premature collapse. Without the economic and cultural center that Bursa provided, the Ottoman Empire's ability to transition from a nomadic to a settled empire might have faltered. Additionally, early institutions like the coinage system, standing army, and madrasas, which were established in Bursa, may not have developed as early or at all. This would have left the Ottomans in a much weaker position to launch their later conquests in Europe. Expansion into Europe, Murad I and the Battle of Kosovo. As the Ottoman Empire continued to grow, the reign of Murad I, 1362 to 1389, marked a crucial period of expansion into Europe. Murad's leadership saw the consolidation of power in the Balkans and several decisive victories that paved the way for long-lasting Ottoman influence in Europe. The rise of Edirne as a new capital. One of Murad's first major acts was shifting the Ottoman capital from Bursa to Edirne, formerly Adrianople, around 1369. This move was highly strategic, placing the Ottomans closer to Europe and signaling their intent to expand further into the Balkans. Edirne, located near the borders of both the Byzantine Empire and Bulgaria, provided a strong base for military campaigns. It became a vital political and cultural center, serving as the capital for nearly 90 years until Constantinople was captured in 1453. The shift from Bursa to Edirne also reflected the Ottomans' growing ambition, moving from an Anatolian power to a European force. Edirne's significance cannot be overstated. It wasn't just a military stronghold, but also a flourishing cultural hub. The city's strategic location on the Maritsa River helped the Ottomans control trade routes in the Balkans. Murad commissioned several important architectural projects, including mosques and bridges, further establishing Ottoman dominance in the region. The Battle of Kosovo, 1389, a turning point. The Battle of Kosovo, fought on June 28, 1389, was one of the most significant military encounters in the Ottoman expansion into Europe. Facing an alliance of Serbian, Bosnian, and Albanian forces led by Prince Lazar of Serbia, Murad I sought to decisively defeat the Christian Balkan states resisting Ottoman control. The battle took place on the Kosovo field, modern-day Kosovo, and both sides suffered heavy losses. Although Murad I was killed during the battle, his army won a decisive victory. Murad was reportedly killed by a Serbian knight, Miloš Obilić, who pretended to defect to the Ottoman side but instead assassinated the Sultan in his camp. Despite this tragic loss, the Ottomans managed to hold their ground and inflicted significant damage on the Serbian forces. The outcome of the battle solidified Ottoman control over much of the Balkans and marked a turning point in Balkan history. One notable aspect of the Battle of Kosovo is its enduring legacy. For the Ottoman Empire, it marked the firm establishment of their presence in the Balkans, and Murad's son, Bayezid I, quickly took over the leadership to continue the campaign. For the Balkan states, however, Kosovo became a symbol of resistance and martyrdom. Even today, the battle is remembered in Serbian folklore and is viewed as a defining moment in the struggle between Christian Europe and the expanding Ottoman Empire. Long-term effects of the Battle of Kosovo. The victory at Kosovo had lasting consequences for both the Ottomans and the European powers. For the Ottoman Empire, it allowed further expansion into the Balkans, including parts of modern-day Serbia, Albania, and Macedonia. The weakened Balkan states could no longer resist Ottoman advances, and over time, many were absorbed into the empire. This created a Muslim presence in the Balkans that remains today. The defeat, however, left the Christian Balkan states vulnerable to Ottoman rule for centuries. Kosovo can be compared to modern geopolitical conflicts, where a single battle or event shifts the balance of power for generations. Just as Kosovo defined the future of the Balkans, modern conflicts in regions like the Middle East or Eastern Europe often lead to long-term shifts in borders, governments, and cultures. What if the Ottomans had lost at Kosovo? This question helps illustrate the high stakes of the battle. A loss could have halted Ottoman expansion and changed the course of European history. The Ottoman presence in Europe could have been delayed or prevented entirely, leaving the region under Christian rule and creating a different power dynamic in the centuries that followed. The Battle of Kosovo serves as a pivotal moment in history, both for the Ottomans and for Europe. The long-term effects are still felt today, particularly in the Balkans, where the memory of Kosovo remains a key part of national identity. By exploring these aspects in greater detail, Murad I's role in expanding into Europe, the significance of Edirne, and the turning point of the Battle of Kosovo, this chapter offers an in-depth look at how the Ottomans established their presence in Europe and the lasting impact of their victories. The fall of Constantinople, the Great Triumph. The fall of Constantinople in 1453 under Mehmed II, also known as the Conqueror, is one of the most significant events in world history. This conquest not only ended the Byzantine Empire but also marked the beginning of a new era for the Ottoman Empire, positioning it as a dominant power in both Europe and Asia. The city's capture had immense strategic, economic, and symbolic importance, turning Constantinople into the new Ottoman capital, Istanbul, and transforming the empire into a vast, multi-ethnic, and multi-religious state. The importance of Constantinople. Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire, was strategically located between Europe and Asia and controlled key trade routes across the Mediterranean and Black Seas. The city had withstood multiple sieges throughout its history due to its formidable Theodosian walls, which had protected it for over 1,000 years. Constantinople was also a symbol of the Christian world, the last stronghold of the Eastern Roman Empire, and a vital cultural and religious center. For Mehmed II, conquering the city was not just a matter of military victory, but also a deeply symbolic achievement. He believed that the fall of Constantinople would fulfill the centuries-old Islamic prophecy that the city would one day fall to Muslim hands. The conquest would also solidify his position as a ruler who could unite both Eastern and Western territories under Ottoman rule. The Siege of Constantinople, May 1453. In April 1453, Mehmed II began the siege of Constantinople with an army of over 80,000 soldiers and a large fleet of ships. One of the key elements of the siege was Mehmed's use of advanced military technology. He deployed cannons, including the massive Great Turkish Bombard, which could fire heavy stone balls capable of breaching the city's thick walls. This technology was revolutionary at the time, marking a shift from traditional methods of warfare to more modern, destructive tactics. The Ottoman army also employed a unique strategy to bypass the Byzantine navy's blockade of the Golden Horn, a waterway that provided the Byzantines with a defensive barrier. Mehmed ordered his forces to drag ships overland, moving them across a wooden platform to launch them into the Golden Horn from the opposite side. This maneuver caught the Byzantines by surprise, allowing the Ottomans to blockade the city from both land and sea. After 53 days of siege, on May 29, 1453, the Ottomans finally breached the walls of Constantinople. The defenders, numbering around 7,000 soldiers, were overwhelmed by the larger Ottoman force. Constantine XI, the last Byzantine emperor, died in the battle, and the city fell into Ottoman hands. The transformation of Constantinople into Istanbul. With the fall of Constantinople, Mehmed II declared the city as the new Ottoman capital and immediately began its transformation. He allowed his soldiers to loot the city for 3 days, a common practice after a conquest, but soon took measures to restore order. Mehmed saw himself as a successor not just to the Byzantine emperors, but also to the Roman Caesars. He adopted the title Caesar of Rome, and sought to integrate the diverse populations of the city into his empire. To rebuild and repopulate the city, Mehmed invited people from different ethnicities and religions, Greeks, Armenians, Jews, and Muslims, to settle in Constantinople. He also encouraged the construction of new mosques, including the iconic Hagia Sophia, which was converted from a church into a mosque, symbolizing the Islamic conquest of the city. The fall of Constantinople marked the beginning of a multi-ethnic empire under Ottoman rule. Mehmed's vision was to create a capital that would be both a political and cultural hub, bridging the gap between the East and West. He revitalized trade by reopening the city's ports, which had been stagnant during the Byzantine decline, and invested in the construction of public works, such as schools, baths, and markets. Over time, Istanbul became a cosmopolitan center of trade, learning, and culture, earning its reputation as one of the greatest cities in the world. The fall of Constantinople as a modern analogy. The fall of Constantinople can be compared to modern technological disruptions. Just as the internet has transformed entire industries, displacing traditional business models, like print media and retail, Mehmed II's conquest of Constantinople reshaped the political and economic landscape of the region. Much like how new technologies have made older systems obsolete, Mehmed's use of gunpowder and cannons represented a leap forward in military strategy, bringing an end to the age of fortified cities. The fall of Constantinople also marked a geopolitical shift. Similar to how the digital revolution has changed the balance of power between industries and nations, Mehmed's conquest redefined power in Europe and the Middle East. It forced European powers to rethink their strategies and trade routes, eventually leading to the age of exploration as Europeans sought new ways to access Asian markets without passing through Ottoman-controlled territory. By capturing Constantinople, Mehmed II not only achieved a significant military victory, but also laid the foundation for the Ottoman Empire's rise as a major world power. The fall of Constantinople was not merely the end of the Byzantine Empire. It was the beginning of a new dynamic period in world history that would shape the future of both Europe and Asia. Suleiman the Magnificent, the Golden Age. The reign of Suleiman I, also known as Suleiman the Magnificent, 1520 to 1566, represents the golden age of the Ottoman Empire, a period in which the empire reached its greatest territorial expansion, cultural development, and military power. During this era, the empire not only dominated large parts of Europe, Asia, and Africa but also experienced a flourishing of arts, architecture, law, and governance. Military conquests in Hungary and Rhodes. One of Suleiman's early accomplishments was his military expansion into Europe. In 1521, he captured Belgrade, a strategic stronghold on the Danube River that had previously resisted Ottoman advances. This conquest paved the way for further incursions into Hungary. Suleiman's most significant victory in Hungary came at the Battle of Mohacs in 1526, where his forces decisively defeated the Hungarian army, leading to the fall of the Kingdom of Hungary. This victory allowed the Ottomans to exert influence over much of Central Europe. At the same time, Suleiman set his sights on the island of Rhodes, which was under the control of the Knights of St. John, a Christian military order. Rhodes had been a thorn in the side of the Ottoman Empire, serving as a base for Christian raids on Muslim ships. In 1522, after a long and bloody siege, Suleiman finally captured Rhodes, forcing the Knights to leave the island and securing Ottoman control of the eastern Mediterranean. The failed siege of Vienna, 1529. In 1529, Suleiman launched an ambitious campaign to capture Vienna, the capital of the Habsburg Empire and the gateway to Central Europe. His army, bolstered by earlier victories, advanced into Austrian territory, reaching the walls of Vienna in September. However, despite a well-coordinated siege, Suleiman's forces were unable to break through the city's defenses. Harsh weather conditions, supply shortages, and fierce resistance from the defenders forced the Ottomans to retreat after several weeks of fighting. The failed siege of Vienna was a turning point in Ottoman expansion into Europe. Had Suleiman succeeded in taking Vienna, it's possible that much of Central and Western Europe could have come under Ottoman rule, potentially altering the course of European history. What if Suleiman had captured Vienna? Could the Ottomans have expanded further into Europe, reaching regions like Germany or Italy? Would the balance of power between Christian Europe and the Islamic world have shifted dramatically? Cultural and architectural achievements. While Suleiman is often remembered for his military campaigns, his reign was also marked by tremendous cultural and architectural achievements. Under his rule, the Ottoman Empire became a center of Islamic culture, attracting scholars, artists, and poets from across the Muslim world. The empire saw a flourishing of literature, calligraphy, and painting, with Suleiman himself being a patron of the arts. One of the most visible legacies of Suleiman's reign is the Suleymani Mosque in Istanbul, built between 1550 and 1557 by the famous Ottoman architect Mimar Sinan. The mosque is an architectural masterpiece, combining Islamic design elements with Byzantine influences from the Hagia Sophia. The Suleymani Mosque not only served as a place of worship but also housed schools, a hospital, a library, and public kitchens, reflecting Suleiman's vision of Istanbul as the heart of the empire. Suleiman's reign also saw the codification of Ottoman laws. Known as Kanuni or the Lawgiver, Suleiman reformed the legal system to create a unified set of laws that applied to both Muslims and non-Muslims within the empire. His legal reforms helped solidify the empire's reputation as a just and well-governed state, attracting scholars and administrators from across the Muslim world. What if Suleiman had successfully captured Vienna in 1529? The conquest of Vienna would have been a major turning point in European history. The Habsburgs, one of the most powerful dynasties in Europe, might have been weakened or even collapsed, allowing the Ottomans to expand further into the heart of Europe. This could have had a profound effect on the development of European politics, religion, and culture. For example, had the Ottomans pushed into Germany or Italy, the Protestant Reformation, already in full swing by 1529, might have taken a different course. European alliances could have shifted dramatically as states scrambled to either resist or align with the Ottoman Empire. Even the eventual colonization of the Americas by European powers might have been influenced, as European states would have faced greater pressure at home rather than focusing on overseas expansion. The tensions between the Ottomans and the Habsburg Empire throughout Suleiman's reign set the stage for centuries of conflict between Christian Europe and the Islamic world. Suleiman's golden age was a time of great achievement for the Ottoman Empire. Under his rule, the empire reached its territorial zenith, expanded its influence into Europe and the Mediterranean, and became a center of cultural and architectural brilliance. Suleiman's legacy as both a military leader and a patron of the arts cemented his place in history as one of the greatest rulers of the Ottoman Empire.